Walt Disney Animation chief says diversity is crucial to studio's success. Let's see if you have notes for this story. If not, I'll send you the link.
I do have notes. Yeah.
Okay, great. Yeah.
69.
To it.
Okay. Bush is focused on reviving Disney animation with a mix of original stories and sequels, including Zootopia 2, Frozen 3 and 4, and potential expansions of Encanto and Moana. So this is the chief of Walt Disney Animation, Jared Bush, saying all of this. He emphasizes the importance of risk-taking, emotional storytelling, and diverse voices in filmmaking, stating that audiences want to be surprised and that risk is key to creativity. Bush is planning a 10-year slate that balances originals and continuation stories and is involved in mentoring new filmmakers, including a new original film for 2026. Bush is aware of evolving animation styles and wants Disney to push visual boundaries, but only when it serves the story. He pointed to upcoming stylistic shifts in Zootopia 2 and hinted at a possible return to 2D animation. Ron Clements, this is the guy I was talking about earlier, actually. Ron Clements, co-director of The Little Mermaid and Aladdin, has been brought out of retirement to mentor younger artists and support this evolution. And then there's just one more part. Zootopia 2 is expected to explore deeper societal themes, continuing the franchise's commentary on prejudice and justice. The sequel shows lead characters on the run from law enforcement, reflecting current social conversations. Bush also aims to create a more transparent and supportive development process at the studio, where artists feel safe to make creative mistakes early. Overall, Bush's vision blends respect for Disney's legacy with a forward-looking agenda of diverse, emotionally resonant, and bold storytelling aimed at reinvigorating Disney animation for the next generation.
What do you think of this, Alan? You are the Elio expert.
Emotionally resonant.
So this is the guy who's replacing Jennifer Lee, which we went in depth with the D-Files. Everything he says here is exactly what I'd expect a politician to say. He's saying the things that we all want to hear, but backs nothing up. Of course he's going to say diversity is great, which is the first warning here is going back to they're not learning from their mistakes. What was it? 2D animation. Why go back to 2D animation? Because that's what we want to hear. And so he says it. Was a bold storytelling aimed at reinvigorating Disney animation. What does that even mean? What indication do we get that Disney has learned its lesson, that Jared Bush here is going to take the company in a brand new, bold direction? Basically, this guy is just, until we see what he's got under his sleeve, he's not to be believed.
What about Ron Clements coming out of retirement? What do you think about that?
Yeah, is he going to actually direct something, or is he just going to?
It says mentoring.
What is he going to teach them? It's one thing to teach animation; it's another to teach storytelling, and that's what I'm not hearing. Bold storytelling. What does that mean? What does that mean? Look, I don't care if the animation gets better or gets worse, because all of that doesn't matter unless you have a good story behind it. Yeah. You could have done Elio with that lame Steven Universe animation and still told a great story, but they couldn't even do that. And so Jennifer Lee did need to go, but I don't get the sense from Jared Bush that he is the bold replacement that's going to take Disney animation into new directions.
Well, I think that you pointed it out, Alan. He's talking like a diplomat, not like a leader. A leader a leader gives no fucks. You are, and John Lasseter, I always respect when I see a creative or an executive when they're speaking and they will just bluntly say the truth. And I think that the public appreciates that because we get it. So we don't hear it all that often. When like a Lasseter will say, no, not this, decisive. And that comes from experience. I just think his sort of wishy-washy, diplomatic, response in that article is just tells me it's not going to get better. What are your guys' thoughts?
Yeah, I mean, to me, it just sounded like you said, it sounds like a politician. He sounds like he's just trying to say the right things. I don't know if any of that makes a difference. Like, we need to see it on film. We need to see it in the theaters. We need to see what they're going to do. Bringing back Ron Clements sounds like a good idea, again, on paper, but what is he going to do? Is he going to, how's he going to mentor these guys? Is he going to show up and say, hey, look, gather around, everybody. This is what I used to do, and walk them through his process of storytelling and creating? Or is he just going to kind of look over their shoulder and say, yeah, don't do this, don't do that? I don't know. All of that is what I want to know, when it comes to that story. What's his process of teaching these guys? It just sounds like he's just going to kind of be a consultant.
Here's where Jared Bush could have saved himself with this. He could have just said, look, we've made mistakes. These past few years of Disney animation have been awful with the way we treat our animators. The stories we've been telling, here's where Strange World failed. Here's why people didn't see that movie. Look, there's something about transparency. There's something about owning up to your mistakes, recognizing the mistakes you made, and then delivering on saying, this is what we're going to do instead of what we did. And that's what he could have said.
They can't do that because then they have to admit that they have to admit DEI failed.
Yep.
Right. They'll never admit that. They'll go down in flames before they admit that DEI failed, right? And that's really what happened here. And he said everything but that.
Yep,
everything but that.
So, he said diversity is crucial.
So again, if they refuse to see it themselves, if they refuse to learn their lessons, they deserve just to go down in flames.
Yeah, funny because you were right. We were saying it the whole time, and now they're saying what we're saying. But when we said it, it's because we're all toxic and racist, and we hate women and all the things like that.
We're the problem.
But now they're saying it, and they were like, "Well, it wasn't true at the time when you were saying it, but now it's true. But it's true for different reasons." But it's like, oh, stop! It's so obviously bad across every what we're talking about being replaced, and the people inside Disney Animation and Pixar weren't what they were. Guess what? It's the same in every single video game studio. And so everything that has a name, the people that made that name are gone. And the people that are in control, for the most part, still believe all that goofy shit that led it to ruin.